saying that they're postponed. Italy is on lockdown. They're closed all the movie theaters and gyms, weddings, funerals in Italy. Just as you're saying, in Washington State, they're limiting all events to 250 people or less. At the rodeo last year, altogether, we had 2,506,000 people. So this is a huge event for our city and worldwide. Now we've got the World Health Organization giving it a label that makes it quite a big deal.
And we're not just talking really about the vendors, you know, the folks who sell the merchandise and the food. I mean, this is going to impact students and their scholarships. I mean, a lot of these students who participate in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, they are banking on these scholarships. They worked extremely hard all year long to get to this point, so that's certainly a major blow for them as well.
Yeah, certainly more than just the fun and games, right? I mean, it's certainly something that spectators look forward to, but it's the livelihood for farmers and cowboys. People spend their entire year getting ready for this event.
They do.
And so for Houstonians and people that live in Texas that come to this event, this is something to look forward to, but it's really so much more than that for some
folks. It's the largest rodeo that a lot of these cowboys, partake in. Like, we're talking about the people who make their livelihood here. They come to the Houston Rodeo because it's so massive. This is their big money maker. So this is going to impact them.
And as we just passed the 12 o'clock mark, still a lot of unknowns about this reported shutdown that we've been talking about this morning. Is this something that's just going to happen immediately? Is it going to be shut down in phases? Will some parts of the rodeo stay open, but maybe not to spectators and visitors? We just don't know. We are waiting on those answers, which we hope to get at any moment once that news conference begins at City Hall with Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo, as well as other officials.
Yeah, we do know that there are so many exciting concerts that have been planned. People have spent money on tickets. We know that Lizzo's sold out in a matter of minutes, and that's scheduled for this Friday. So we're awaiting details on exactly if this does in fact shut down permanently, with all the events happening canceled, what that process will be like in terms of people getting refunds for their tickets and what the next move is.
Or if they're just limiting crowds, we just don't know yet. So they need to have all this stuff ready to go, ready to answer our questions as soon as they start this press conference, because there's certainly a lot of them. There's certainly a lot of people around Texas who are paying attention to this.
Yeah, certainly we've had Mario Diaz out there talking to guests. Our Taisha Walker has been talking to guests. And one of the recurring themes, that we've heard this morning from guests is, hey, look, there is a level of understanding. We understand the concerns. We're starting to see more cases of coronavirus in our area. But on the other hand, good hygiene and good hand washing practices really does go a long way towards prevention.
Yeah, perhaps not unexpected, but still, as Mario was mentioning to some of those vendors and guests, it's still painful. You hear about it happening, all these events being canceled across the country amid the concerns of coronavirus. But when it happens in your home, to the biggest event that folks love and they look forward to, it hits you a little bit differently, and it's hitting folks, slowly we're getting this news.
It hits us. We're here on the desk saying, were you going to the rodeo? Were you going to the rodeo? Which show were you going to?
And a lot of those visitors and guests who are out there, I mean, they had no idea, they're being told the news right there on the spot by our crews who are out there covering the story.
Yeah, and they're going, what? I feel fine.
Right. Everything looks fine. We're having a great time, which is exactly what the rodeo wants you to feel. And now we're just waiting to hear from city leaders as exactly the timeline and how this is all going to happen and roll out. And we're expecting that press conference any moment now.
I'm sure they'll reiterate the hand washing, as you mentioned, Andy, cleaning surfaces, avoiding big crowds is one thing that the health experts are encouraging, which is probably something they're going to fall back on when they talk about any closures involving the rodeo, that it's because of the big crowds that come every year. The U.S. Surgeon General is giving lessons on hand washing. I mean, I know it sounds really amateur.
Seems silly, but really,
yeah, the 20 seconds, I mean, if you've actually counted, it's a lot longer than you think. You know, you're used to a certain time of washing your hands. When you start to count to 20, you're like, oh, I typically stop at about half that. So they're having to go over and these habits that we've developed over the years and decades and try and squash those. It could be our best defense to squashing the coronavirus.
The happy birthday song, right? You sing
Yes.
happy birthday to
It seems like it goes on for a long time. We're really lucky to have health reporter Haley Hernandez here. She's been like eating and breathing
nonstop,
everything
night
about
and day.
coronavirus for weeks now. And so we're so lucky to have you on set with us. Talk about the difference of why this is, it seems more elevated in terms of fear factor than, say, the measles or the flu, because there is a difference with coronavirus.
Well, because we just don't have the answers. It's a virus that's a few months old when other viruses have been around forever. Now, coronavirus is a term. It's a family of viruses, and SARS is in that. So we know that's been around since what, the 60s, 70s? That's been around a while. This one is a different type of the coronaviruses, and there's not a lot of certainty about what it will do and what it can do. The numbers we only know are from what people have studied in China. Once this disease goes to more places and they have bigger numbers to evaluate, we don't really know if it's going to seem more deadly than the flu, or if the flu will in fact remain as the disease that's killing more people. There's just so much that's unknown that people tend to jump to conclusions and be really scared of it. The reason that, are we going to the press conference? Okay. The reason that we are focusing on this so much is because city health officials and scientists who I work with daily are telling me we need you right now in the media telling people how serious this is and stressing to the people who have it not to come in contact with other people, because the dream would be this virus goes away and then it becomes nothing that we have to worry about. That would be fantastic. And if in 2 years from now you say, hey, remember when you made a big deal about that and it's nothing? Great.
Great.
It's nothing.
Yeah, and then that's the goal. I think the message is that we're not here to instill fear in anybody. This is a virus that is spreading. There's still a lot of questions that are left unanswered about it. We'll probably learn in the days, weeks, and months to come. But for right now, the best thing you can do, wash your hands and take care of yourself. And if you are feeling like you have some sort of a respiratory issue or something, contact your doctor.
Yeah, and the health department and our city leaders probably have a lot of information about how many people are actually being tested. The City of Houston Health Department won't tell me how many tests they've actually received. They just say they've received a lot more tests since they've gotten the ability to test for it locally. So they have a lot of information that's probably the reason that they're making these cancellations.
All right, health reporter Haley Hernandez, thanks so much. Want to get out to Channel 2 investigator Mario Diaz. NRG, you've been talking to some vendors out there this afternoon.
Yeah, I can tell you, Andy, it's been an intriguing last 10 minutes here, because we went down into the vendor location. We were brought there by another vendor. She said, this is horrible. I'm going to lose $300,000 off of this rodeo. She indicated that she was already down because of what we've seen in the first 2 weeks with regards to impacting attendance. We go down into the vendor section and we're told immediately, you guys can't be in here, but the vendors were pulling us in. Vendors wanted to talk to us, so we came up right in front of the offices once again. Ginger came up here from the vendors floor. Come in here, Ginger. You were adamant about talking to us.
Very adamant.
You've been here for how many years?
I've been here for 30 years. This is my show. You know, rodeo is my life. I live on this money my whole year. I have 12 employees who depend on this for their income. And all the other vendors who are my family who've been here for longer than me or less than me, we invest everything we have in this. And to tell us that we're going to shut down, what does that mean? What do we do? We've got all this merchandise. We've got all these people depending on money. We've already banked this. Who can make a decision like this?
That decision's coming down.
What about the kids? What about the scholarships for the kids? That's what the rodeo's about.
We've been talking about that, Ginger. You have the acts that take place at night, but the kids that rely on the scholarships,
Oh my God.
that this is there just like yourself. They do this for the entire year.
All year long. And they're here to win and to show and to get money for school, for their future. What's going to happen with that? You can just shut this down?
Can you understand with officials, though, on the other hand, that are saying, let's shut this down out of the public's protection?
No, I cannot. We've been here the whole time. I think it's all a big hype. Whoever made this decision, I can't tell you how I feel about you.
Well, we are waiting for the official news conference to take place. You've been at this rodeo for over 30 years. Another colleague of yours down there says, I've been here for more than 40 years.
Oh, yes.
What was it like
And they come from all over.
What was it like when the news came down and it started filtering through the grounds there?
It spread like wildfire. We couldn't believe it. And everybody was on their phones. We couldn't believe it. How could it possibly be?
Contacting who? Insurance agents? Contacting their vendor
We don't
managers?
have insurance. We lose everything. We don't have insurance. I don't. I mean, most of these vendors don't have insurance. They drive in here with everything they own in merchandise to come here and sell it to make a living. They have to drive it all back home now. What are they going to do with it? Some of these people don't even have stores to sell it in. They just sell it here. And we're not going to see our friends. We're not going to see our customers for years and years. Everybody's going to be so disappointed, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Ginger Joe, I'm sorry that obviously you had to learn of this today. You came up to me when we were down there. We're talking.
Yes. Everybody wanted to talk to you. All the vendors are desperate. They can't believe it. They're in shock.
We came up here because the rodeo told us to come up here and to talk to you. Want to make that clear. Thank you so much, Ginger.
Thank you.
We do
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for putting it out there.
It's a difficult situation for many people. I can tell it's difficult for you.
Oh, my God.
But there'll be another rodeo.
Right.
And
there
Ginger,
will.
you'll be here.
Yes, I will certainly always be here as long as they invite me back. This is a fabulous show, and I'm so sorry this has happened.
All right, Ginger, thank you so much. Again, she's just one of the vendors that I spoke to down there. There were several others. On the way up, my photographer, Adrian Montage, and I were going up the escalator. A father with his wife and a child said, what are we supposed to do with these? And he had his tickets out in front of me. He had a wristband. He said, it appears like they're shutting everything down right now. And I said, what do you mean they're shutting everything down? He said, they're shutting things down. It's a situation right now that is moving very quickly here. The rodeo and their officials are trying to be as fluid as possible, you can tell, but we're still waiting for this news conference from City Hall that's set to take place here at noon with the county judge, Lena Hidalgo, and Mayor Sylvester Turner, as well as Dr. David Pierce with regards to what are they going to be doing here for the long term or for the short term. Those questions remain unanswered, but as you can tell, vendors are concerned because this means their livelihood. You have children that we've spoken to already because this means potential scholarship money. It's what they work all year for. And you also have the rodeo officials concerned because this is a major entertainment attraction for the entire area. I mean, you can see people are going up and down this corridor here and they're just seemingly walking like it's business as usual, but they're all looking at their phones. They're all trying to identify what's truly happening. Those questions will be answered here at any time now as we await this news conference from City Hall. But that's the very latest. I'm Mario Diaz reporting live at the rodeo for KPRC Channel 2 News.
All right, Mario, thanks so much. We've been getting reports into our newsroom that some of the volunteers, Christine, are being told not to show up for their shifts at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and that also speaks to what Mario's been seeing and hearing from folks out there. Want to get right out to our Taisha Walker, who is also live at NRG for us at the Fairway where the carnival is taking place. Taisha.
Hey, Andy, you know, I've been speaking with a lot of unhappy guests. Take a look as to why. You can see there is no movement, no line, no one allowed to go on these carnival rides. Families telling me they spent hundreds of dollars on tickets right outside of the gate, and they were told that there's a possibility that this rodeo will shut down, and now they come inside and they're not able to use their tickets. So they are not happy. We're going to speak with some of these people here. You guys were in line to go and go on the carnival rides?
We had just finished riding a ride when they told us that we had to leave.
About what time was that?
It was around 12:02. We were already on one of the rides, and then it just stopped, and they're like, okay, the rodeo's it's off.
Yeah.
It's no more.
Did they tell you why?
No, they gave no reasons why.
And so how many carnival tickets did you guys have? Did you guys get to do more than one ride?
First ride, it was our first one. We just got here for a trip, and it was our first one.
Tickets?
Yeah,
We got 150 tickets?
Yes.
$150, right?
No, $150 worth of tickets.
$150 worth of tickets. How are you guys feeling?
I'm sad. I'm really sad.
I'm very
Disappointed.
sad.
I'm just sad because like we were ready for the rodeo, so I guess it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Would you have preferred them handle it differently when you walked in through the gates?
Yeah, at least be like, oh, there might be, a problem or something. But we were on there for like 10 seconds and they're like, it's over. So
Yeah, they could have warned us.
or they could have at least kept the ride going a little longer,
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you guys are hearing the sentiment from some of these guests, they're not happy. They spent money to try to have a good time here at the carnival, at the rodeo, and as you can see, a lot of people are starting to fan out. There were a lot more people here on the carnival grounds when we got here, but as you can see, it is starting to clear out because people aren't allowed to go on the ride, so many of them are starting to leave the park. Guys, I'm going to toss it back to you in the studio, and we'll try to talk to some more guests and kind of hear what they're saying, and be sure to bring it back to you.
All right, Taisha, thank you. So it appears that we're already seeing parts of the Houston Livestock Rodeo shut down, but yet we're still waiting to hear from city leaders the exact timeline and what exactly is happening. It seems like it's just kind of a rumor that's now coming to fruition without any solidified details.
Or a timetable,
Yeah.
Exactly. We have yet to hear from city and county officials about the shutdown of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which, as you've been watching live during our coverage, is taking place right now as we speak. The shutdown is unfolding as we continue our live coverage here on the air this noon.
Yeah, so any moment, we're really just waiting to hear from Mayor Sylvester Turner as well as other city leaders regarding their concerns of the spread of the coronavirus. And we've been hearing that the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo will be shut down. We don't know if it's going to be the entire thing shut down, when exactly that'll happen, how that will look. For folks like that family that Taisha was just speaking to that bought $150 worth of carnival ride tickets, are they going to be getting a refund? There's still so many questions that need answers, and we're hoping to get some of those answers pretty soon here as we await this press conference.
And you made a great point earlier, Christine. This is about more than just fun and a good time. I mean, these are people's livelihoods that are now being impacted, and students who depend on these scholarships. The Rodeo has presented nearly 19,000 scholarships since the first scholarship was awarded way back in 1957. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo began in 1932. Since then, more than $500 million has been committed to the youth of Texas and education. So that really drives home the point that this is so much bigger than just, going out there and having a good time. It's going out there and supporting the livelihoods of these vendors and encouraging these students who were there for scholarships.
Yeah, these students have worked so hard for this, and this pain will be felt. It's a multi-layered pain, whether it's from the students that have been working so hard for the scholarships, or the spectators that just go to enjoy it, to the hundreds of vendors that we're hearing from. Mario just speaking with one Ginger, you could easily see how passionate she is about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. She said, "This is my life. This is our livelihood. I have employees to pay. We have all this merchandise. We have been gearing up for this event," and she's just one of so many voices out there that are going to be impacted when this shuts down.
I want to bring in health reporter Haley Hernandez now, who's been covering the coronavirus basically night and day for us, Haley.
Yeah, guys, this is all I'm doing.
And really what we're seeing happening here on the grounds of NRG goes along the lines of what we've seen happen in other cities in this country and in other cities around the world who are also dealing with coronavirus cases.
Yeah, the one difference between the rodeo is, we heard about spectators being limited at sporting events before it actually happened. It seems like right now at the rodeo, things are happening pretty abruptly before we've ever even heard from city officials. They were supposed to start talking to you on our newscast at 12 o'clock. We're still waiting for that to start. But yeah, as you mentioned, worldwide, there have been leaders shutting events down. The governor of Washington State limiting events to 250 people. We've had some schools in our area canceled. Texas A&M is canceling classes. They're canceling, one day at a time until they can determine what they're going to do for the rest of the school year. And then, as I mentioned, Italy. I mean, we're talking about a whole country that's saying, cancel your wedding, cancel your funeral. Sorry. They just don't want large gatherings of people right now because of how contagious a virus like this is.
And it's one thing to see the news that an entire country like Italy is shutting down, or, March Madness is probably not allowing spectators to their games. But it's another thing when we're looking at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo in our front yard. Yeah. And it feels a little bit different. It's becoming, I think, a little more real for us. And Haley, we'll talk to you here in more in just a minute. But we want to get back out to Channel 2 reporter Mario Diaz. He's been speaking with vendors out at the Livestock Show and Rodeo.
speaking with vendors. I've been speaking with kids here, Christine, who are showing off their animals. Again, they work all year long. For many, this is their life for the entire year, these few weeks. But for others, this day is also very special for them. Just one day they look forward to for many weeks. One of those people joins me right now, LaShawn McCall. LaShawn, if I can get you right over here. You planned to come down here today, and you said you were upset because you've already tried to get your money back.
I already tried to get my money back. They shut the little booth down where you get your money back. They told us to come upstairs in NRG, and they're closed too, and nobody wants to tell us anything.
What they say to you?
Anything. They don't know anything. They don't know nothing. They just waiting for the press conference to be over with. Everybody is walking around here clueless.
Is there anything open right now for you?
Nothing is open. And my kids are crying, and they want to go somewhere. How am I going to go take them somewhere? And I just spent $100 here. I can't go take them anywhere. Where else am I going to take them? I don't have any money. I just spent my money right here.
How much did you spend?
$100, and he took my cash money, and I want my cash money back.
And how long ago was that?
About 15, 20 minutes ago. My kids haven't wrote anything. We stood in line, and all of a sudden, a man left the ride and said they shutting it down. That's it.
What are your plans for today?
Get my money back, and I would take my kids somewhere else indoors, the main event somewhere.
How are you going to get your money back?
I don't know. Somebody better give me my money.
All right, I understand. I know you said earlier you were thinking about maybe sticking around here.
Yeah,
Is that your plan?
I'm not leaving NRG until somebody give me $100. I'm not going nowhere without my money.
All right, LaShawn. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. I know it's a difficult day. You're not the only one that's having struggles with this. Do you understand, though, why?
I understand.
Do you understand why they're shutting it down?
Yeah, I understand about the coronavirus, but there's plenty of precautions that are outside. Everybody's taking precautions here, and it's not fair that our kids have to suffer. If they knew they were going to close this down, they shouldn't have opened up this morning. They should have never opened it up. And I understand. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo helps a lot of kids. I understand there was scholarships and everything for them to go to school. And I understand that. That's why we come every year to support that.
But under these circumstances, ma'am, you see it nationwide as well as elsewhere in the world. They're shutting it down.
They're shutting it down, but guess what? They shouldn't have took my money. Give it back. You took it, give it back. I gave that guy $100 that was on that committee. He could go back in his pocket and give me back my $100. And I would leave NRG parking lot. And I can't come back tomorrow because I have to go to work.
LaShawn, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much, okay? Just one of the people out here today who are right now trying to identify how to get their money back. This woman saying, hey, how do I get my money back? I just overheard her saying the same thing. You have that kind of uncertainty right now that is gripping not only people who are attending the rodeo here today in terms of just for pure enjoyment, but also the vendors as well as the participants. The people we're talking to are the dayside people with this rodeo. Remember, there's a nightside component to it. It is, after all, one of the most marquee rodeos of the entire circuit. It takes place for 3 weeks during the course of the evening out at NRG, followed by a major performance by a well-known act. You have questions surrounding those performances that are on the schedule, what's going to take place with regards to people wanting their money back for that. I'm sure that's going to be a question that's going to be asked. We look forward to, obviously, the public officials addressing that, as well as questions with regards to vendors. One down here telling me, oh my goodness, and I'm being kind there when I say it like that. She says, I'm out $300,000 because of this. We heard from Ginger Joe earlier, another vendor. This is her livelihood. She pays 12 other people. She's not the only one. You have an entire hall beneath me here that is dealing with that very situation right now. And we're going to be following closely here throughout the course of the day as this story unfolds. But that's the very latest here at the rodeo. Mario Diaz, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
All right, Mario, thank you. And yeah, whether it's $300,000, $100, $10, if you're getting sent home because of abrupt closure, then people want answers, and we certainly understand that. We're actually getting more information about some of the refunds. AXS is the ticket seller for Rodeo Houston. AXS's event cancellation policy states refunds will be issued if an event is in fact canceled. If you purchase your ticket via AXS.com or a mobile application, whether it's a primary or resale ticket, we will automatically issue a refund to the payment of or method used to make your purchase.
If you purchase your tickets from another seller, you will need to get your refund directly through that seller. StubHub and Vivid Seats say you don't have to do anything to get a refund. When an event is canceled, you will be contacted by email. Because there are so many event cancellations because of the coronavirus concerns, StubHub and Vivid Seats will let you choose whether you want a refund or a coupon worth 120% of what you paid. You can use them for up to a year on tickets for any future events. So certainly we have heard from vendors and guests out there, and the sense and the mood is that this all, Christine and Haley, happened just so abruptly without warning. 1 minute they're there, 1 minute they're on the rides, 10 seconds later the ride stops and everybody's getting off and people are trying to get their refunds sight on scene and they're not able to do so at this point.
And no explanation either, being told to get off the ride and hey, we're just done. And that leads to the question now, when are we going to hear from city leaders to discuss the timeline of this and how exactly this is all going to unfold? We were expecting the conference with Mayor Sylvester Turner as well as other city leaders to begin at noon. We're now approaching 12:25. We're still awaiting that press conference. As you can see, the podium still empty right there. But there are so many questions that we have, and certainly spectators out there going, okay, hey, where's my money? What's going on? How fast do we actually have to get out of the parking lot? You know, it's all kind of unfolding abruptly, and it leads to a lot of confusion.
And Haley, the guest that Mario was talking to, she made a great point. She said, look, I understand. Don't open your doors. Just give me my money. But she also said, everybody's practicing good hand washing. She said everybody that she's seen, everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. So on the one hand, she gets the fact that, hey, we're going to shut this thing down, but first don't open this morning. But then people are doing what they're told. So she doesn't necessarily, you know, she sees both sides of it.
Which makes us all ask the question of why? Why are they doing this and why is it happening so abruptly? I mean, couldn't they have started rolling this out later this afternoon or tomorrow? We're asking why now, and that's what we are waiting for this this press conference on. At the same time that this is happening, this is by far the biggest cancellation here happening in our city, but worldwide, the World Health Organization just for the first time today is calling the coronavirus a pandemic. Now, a pandemic is defined as when there's a worldwide spread of a new disease for which we do not have immunity. So worldwide, health organizations are saying this is a big deal. Obviously, for Houstonians, we get it now that it's affecting our rodeo.
But a vaccine is in the works. I mean, they're working on it. Doctors and scientists are working toward a vaccine.
And so that was one of the stories that I have been working on, and I aired it this morning on our morning show, talking about how UTMB and Baylor are joining forces for this. UTMB has the live virus in their safely protected lab, and Baylor has tested their vaccine against this virus to know that it looks promising, but it still has to go through a lot of safety tests in order to make sure that it's good enough and pure enough to give to human beings, and they have not been able to move forward with those safety testings because there's a lack of funding. This is a test that they created for SARS. Baylor College of Medicine created this for SARS years ago. Since SARS is part of the coronavirus family, and now we've got COVID-19, there is reason to believe that this would be a good vaccination to help protect people, help protect our immune systems from getting something like this. We just have to wait for the funding to get it. And so now that politicians are starting to pay a lot more attention to coronavirus, the question is, will they provide the funding to make these vaccines happen?
And our goal is to make this as easy to understand as possible, which is difficult when you look at, you know, something like the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo being shut down, but we're also saying, hey, the overall risk to the public is low. It's because of the fact that this is contagious and there's no vaccine right now for it.
Right. Did you know that there is a way to actually measure how contagious something is, and it's called the reproductive.
Coming to a town near you, it's Paw Patrol Live, Race to the Rescue. For more information, you can go to pawpatrollive.com. Playing the Hobby Center this weekend only. Tickets
to 4 people. You compare that to something like the flu, which for every one person who gets it, they can spread it to another 1 to 2 people. The big difference is that we do have a vaccine for the flu, which makes us not as susceptible to getting it as opposed to coronavirus, where our immune systems have never seen anything like this, so they don't know how to fight.
And that's why the containment is so important at this point, and the self-quarantines for people who think perhaps they might have been infected.
Yeah, if you stay in your home for 2 weeks, they're saying, you know, anywhere between 5 days and 12 days, you could begin showing symptoms of coronavirus. So if you stay in your house for 14 days without symptoms, then we think that you would be fine. Or if you had it, you would get over it in that time, and then it would make the virus go away. If you were to never spread it to another person, then the virus would disappear.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about hand washing. And folks, you know, you think it's silly. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, it's washing your hands. Many of us are doing it wrong. We're not doing it long enough. And really, it may be the silly way to help prevent the disease, but it really is, or the virus, it is the one way that we can, it's the easy way for us to make sure we're doing our part.
I'm about to tell you something that is now going to make you think of me every time you're washing your hands. If you remember the chorus to Barbie Girl or Gangsta's Paradise, those are 20 seconds long. Happy birthday. You sing that song 20 seconds is basically a lot longer than what you think it is. And the experts say that it's not just the actual soap that's killing the germs, but it's the friction too. So you want to maintain that friction for